All right. We will now open the Estacada Urban Renewal Agency Committee meeting. Can we have roll call, please?
Teresa Davis. Oops. Teresa Davis is absent. Brent Dodrell,
Present.
John Dozal,
Here.
Sean Drinkwine,
Here.
Justin Gates, Shane Harris, Charity Hughes. Here. Mike McElroy, Jonathan Metcalf,
Here.
Heidi Prokop. Here. Suzanne Sager.
Here.
Scott Stahl,
Here.
Paul Strobel,
Here.
Jerry Tenbush.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming today and being a part of the process. It has come to the time to select our chair. So do I have any nominations on the floor?
I'd like to nominate Charity Hughes.
Okay. I have Charity Hughes on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah, I've got a first and second. So all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Charity, take her away.
Okay, well, let me go up to the. Okay, so we've got approve May 16th Budget Committee minutes of 2023. I think you've all had a chance to look over 2023 Budget Committee minutes. And so do I have a motion on the floor to approve or thank you?
I will move that we approve those minutes. Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, next we have the presentation of the budget message. So Budget Officer Wagner.
Okay. This is my direction and get a slideshow going up there. Just want to say thank you and welcome to the 2024-25. Can't even believe I'm saying that. Urban Renewal Budget Committee meeting. Thank you to our city council and to our volunteers from the community who are here with us this evening. And just going to go over a little bit briefly about urban renewal in general and then about this budget. But let's see, there we go. Just want to say we're getting close to the end of this particular urban renewal agency or district. And it's kind of an exciting time to see it wrap up here and see what will happen next. So next slide, please. I just want to do a quick little introduction to urban renewal in case anybody is watching online or in case any of you here aren't as familiar with it. But the Estacada Downtown Urban Renewal Plan contains goals, objectives, and projects for the revitalization of the Estacada Downtown Urban Renewal area. It was established in 2007. And the purpose is to use, it's a tool that we're allowed to use to promote private investment and to facilitate the area's redevelopment in a manner that's consistent with the city's long-term planning and development objectives. And these tools include tax increment financing, which I have up there. That is where the very first year, whatever the property tax is, that's the base amount. And then as it grows over the years, the amount of tax over that is collected over that base amount goes to urban renewal to the agency. And so other districts give up that tax for the 20 years. And then with the goal of having a revitalized area that has progressed over 20 years in a positive direction, has not gone backwards or stagnated. So it is limited by time and location. We have the district is our downtown Estacada, and our 20 years will be up next year. So after fiscal year 25-26, then we won't be able to take on any more indebtedness, which is a word that a lot of people don't like to hear, but that's what they call it in urban renewal. We are limited by the amount of money that we can spend, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But new buildings or significant remodels boost that tax increment, help the taxes to go up more than the 3% that they do. And investments to infrastructure, which would be a public investment in the area, they're important to pave the way to allow for development. All right, next slide. So maximum indebtedness, that's the term they call, what they call how much money the the agency is allowed to spend over the full 20 years. Our amount is 6.6 million. So far, estimating by the end of this fiscal year, at the end of June, once we finish this Main Street project, we will have spent about $5.4 million. We've budgeted for this coming fiscal year. This budget you're looking at tonight is to spend $600,000, and then we'll have about just over $500,000 for the final year. All right, next slide. We have two funds. So if you look at the budget spreadsheets, you'll see 2 pages. And the first one is usually I think it's on top. I'm not sure which one's on top, but tax increment fund, or 96, is where we receive the taxes, and then any loans that we have, we make the debt payments out of that fund. There is a reserve that's required for our Umpqua Bank loan, which was the Broadway project. So you'll see that. We just hold on to that. We budget to hold it. And then in the actual amounts, it's always zero because we haven't spent it. We just hold it. And then we do transfers to the operating fund for projects. So 2 ways to incur maximum indebtedness is you either take a loan, and the amount of the loan, it counts towards the maximum indebtedness, or any of the projects we do, if we just use the funds that we have and we don't actually take a loan for it, and we track that, and that also counts towards our limit. And Fund 95, which is our operating fund, that receives the transfers in, and you'll see that coming in from debt service. And then any program income, for instance, a couple years ago when we sold the Yo Treats building, that fund, when we bought the building, that expenditure counted toward our indebtedness. And then when it was sold, it went back into the operating fund to be used again. So you don't have to count it twice. The operating fund funds all of our projects and all of our operating expenses. Next slide. So what we are estimating for our revenue this year is that our property taxes for the current taxes, and then there's always a small amount for folks that are paying past due. And so our estimate for that whole amount is $480,000. We're estimating interest of $20,000 just because we have so much reserve sitting there right now, or so much in the state pool. And then our loan payments to receive, we made a loan several years ago for equipment we've actually made a few loans. This is the only one outstanding. It was for Yo Treats equipment, and they are paying that off every year. And that's just a small amount of $1,600. Miscellaneous income is $1,200. Sometimes we get, along with the taxes, there'll be other, I don't know, Sadie might know what it is.
It's interest.
It's like, it's interest, but it's, sometimes we track it as miscellaneous income. And then our beginning fund balance, which again is estimated, is just over 1.2 million. All right, and the next slide. So what are we going to do this year? We have in the budget to spend $350,000 on property acquisition for a potential parking lot and improvements. Probably not the improvements, just the purchase would be likely, but we'll see how far we can get with that. That's a plan that we haven't really addressed. That we did do, the city did a parking lot over there, but it wasn't an urban renewal project. And so we're kind of looking, do we need something downtown? The board has looked at that. Also with the lakeshore development of the water access, I think that's going to also need some additional parking in that area. So we're kind of looking around. We also have strategic planning for sunsetting this urban renewal plan at $30,000, how to wrap this up well. And then I should have added in there also how to potentially look at starting a different one. The council has shown interest in that. It would be in a different area. Small and large grant programs are $320,000. 100,000 of that is a carryover, so it's not a new grant. The new grants would be 20 in small grants and 200 in large grants. But we are budgeting for carrying one over that's not going to finish up yet this year. Miscellaneous administrative costs of 13,000. That covers things like, public notices. We do community meetings and want to get refreshments, especially if we're going to be doing a lot of public outreach, talking about looking at starting a new district. We won't spend, if you look back at the actuals, we don't really spend much out of the miscellaneous administrative, but it's there in case we need it. Legal and audit, $10,000, and Riverfront, miscellaneous prep for the project. We have the engineering and we have the permitting completed for that project. We got some designs done. There's an image of it back there. We need to do, I'd like to put a sign up down there, and we need to keep our permits renewed so we don't lose those and have to start over. And then debt service and reserve is $419,874. And those are, I kind of combine, I lumped them all into one list here, but you'll see them. The debt service is in Fund 96, and then the rest of them are in Fund 95. All right. So next steps right now would be for the committee to review the budget and have a discussion, ask questions if you have any questions. And then we'll have citizen input and comments if there are any, and then we'd have a motion to approve the proposed budget as presented or amended if you so wish. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions on the urban renewal budget? No? Okay. I don't see any citizens here, so are there any citizen comments online? Nope. Okay. And then, is there a motion to approve the proposed budget?
I move to approve the Estacada Urban Renewal Agency budget for the,
Actually,
20
get you the.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this.
okay, that's perfect. All right. I move to assess maximum taxes as allowed for the urban renewal district to approve the budget as proposed. That's
Okay.
what I was saying.
There's a
Second.
first.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, so announcement of next meeting if needed.
We won't need a next meeting,
Yeah.
but feel free to track along with us through the year. As we don't have a lot of urban renewal meetings, but I think that as we're moving towards wrapping this up, we're starting a new project. We did have more meetings when we were preparing for the Main Street project. So feel free to stay involved and track along with us. And thank you.
Anything scheduled?
We'll have a meeting on June 10th, and that will be for the board to adopt the budget. I don't have anything prepared for that discussion, but if any of the board has ideas, things you want to discuss, let me know.
Do you have any, I mean, you can just kind of give a quick and dirty, but what are some thoughts on kind of a new urban renewal that you were talking about that, that council had
Yeah, what we had discussed previously
Yeah.
was potentially what's a very undeveloped area is the mill property.
Mhm.
And if you look on a map, which I don't have one in front of you, but the mill property kind of rolls down the hill and then connects to the riverfront commercial area. And so it has to be, you can't pick like a spot here and a spot over here. It has to be continuous. But both of those, if we kind of drew a line around that, would be probably a really great idea because there's not, there's no development on the mill property right
Mhm.
now. And if it's getting ready, there's some things we could do to help out with that. We'll probably bring in, we have John Lagarza on contract to help with economic development for the city. And so he'll be involved, but also we'll probably bring in, there's one real expert in Oregon. Her name is Elaine Howard, and everybody uses Elaine. So I don't know what's going to happen when she retires, but I'm sure she's bringing somebody else along and she can help us walk through the process and evaluate options. And yeah, it was I wasn't working for the city when the first one was put together. And so I didn't see that happen, but it looks like it was a really very thorough process. And so,
Great.
yeah.
Could that be
Okay.
shared with Lakeshore being a part of that as well, or is that something?
I'd have to look at the map, but yeah, that we could consider that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
'cause obviously we're at the point that it's come down to making
Uh-huh.
some serious decisions down there, and I think those are very costly.
For
To
the,
get that going.
for the water
yeah.
access. Yeah. Yeah, we could just maybe come right down along the Lakeshore Trail and loop that in. We'll have to look at a map and see what is legally allowed, but that's a great idea. It's an exciting time to be in Estacada because there's the bittersweet. I've been here forever and it's not like it used to be, but there's a lot of good things going on. And I do like to say, like, in 20 years from now or 30 years from now, if my grandkids don't live here, but they come back, I want them to come back and say, oh, this is a great little town, not the opposite of that. You know, I don't want it to go downhill. We want it to keep moving in the right direction and have good community values and be fresh and vibrant and, you know, an active, growing town. So
I sent you the email last night that I got from Bev. Did you read the Esticated News article that was in that email?
I did not click on that yet, but I will, now that I'm through today, I will take a look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty
Is it?
good.
Good. Take a
I
look.
have a question. It's not for any reason other than curiosity. I mean, we already approved it, but you said the 330 for acquiring a parking lot. Do you have potential property aspects or something?
Right, for what?
For
I'm
the
sorry.
parking lot that you
Uh-huh.
talked about in the urban area? Do
The
you,
property.
what, do
Right.
you have a specific property you're looking at? Or
We don't, right now, we have, there's some, I mean, no, we had talked about something close to Main Street. We've also looked at some property down at, down closer to Lake Shore. But we'll probably come up with some ideas and then, talk about that maybe in an executive session if we're going to discuss making an offer or something so that the board could decide, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just more of that's just for curiosity.
Uh-huh.
That was a specific number, so.
Mhm. It is, it is a specific number. It's also kind of just a guess. So.
So,
Yeah.
I remember in the TSP, one of the projects was taking, I think it's Sixth and punching it all the way through to 224.
Mhm.
So, I have no idea. I mean, could you use those funds for that kind of thing, or do TSP projects have to come from somewhere else?
No, that could be, it could be SDC project. It could be done by a developer. It could be part of an urban renewal if that becomes a district. yeah.
Preferably, we would want that done by the developer. You know, we would want
Mhm.
that, we wouldn't want
Right.
that cost to be on the city. We would want it to be on whoever develops that property.
Mhm. Yeah, but we'll have to, there's a lot of planning, I think, ahead of that, but yeah, it's, I
right.
think it would, yeah, if you're looking at a 20-year plan, I think there's some good possibilities there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
On the urban renewal, there's been a lot of talk about sports complexes and things for our kids. And you're talking about the mill property specifically being something possibly to look at in that designation. And that would allow for the space that would be
Would be
needed for
some
something like
space.
that. It could also be used to create an opportunity for the city to make some money on it and employ young kids, right? Where if you remember back to when we were kids, you'd have like a city league basketball or football or whatever, or soccer, what have you, softball. And then parents would come, but it'd be the high schoolers that actually work for the city as referees and things like that on down,
Mhm.
right? And then it would be providing a need for the community, one, but two, it would generate a income with using that resource too. Is that something the city's considering or could consider? in
We
this?
could consider that. That's one thing, the urban renewal plan is on the website. And if you read through that, it has types of projects that were identified as being allowed under the plan. And so through the public process that we would have, I mean, that could be definitely one of them if that would rise to the top, yeah. And here's a shameless plug for, I see the soccer sign up there. There is opportunities for our youth to be referees and I don't know what for the other sports, what they're called, but refs, I guess.
Mhm.
And I think they do get, I know for soccer, they get paid and it's a need. And then there also get some interacting with the younger kids that are
Yeah,
playing, so.
I just meant something more city controlled and less.
Mhm.
Is that a city controlled thing?
No, that's those are community nonprofits.
Okay.
Through the
Mhm.
youth programs usually.
Mhm. Yep, all right.
Okay.
My daughter was a referee for soccer last year and they not only refunded the training fee she paid, but she also got paid. So
Yes.
that was pretty cool for her.
Excellent. All right.
Idea of seeing community.
All right, if there are no other questions, then I'll go ahead and adjourn the urban renewal meeting.
Okay, thank you, everybody.